We're going to start our first back strengthening poses by bringing our hands forward in front of our elbows. So we're in our sphinx. And starting with our forehead resting on the ground. Lengthening through the spine by pressing our forearms into the ground and pulling forward. We notice the ladybug crawling between our chest and our chin. So we're going to lift our head just high enough to let her free. And then as we exhale, moving with our breath, we're going to drop our forehead down to the ground. We're a little curious to how high she got, how far away, so we're going to lift our head this time and see if we can bring our gaze to look at the seam between the wall and the floor. And then exhaling, bringing our forehead back down to the ground. This time we're going to do the same thing, lengthening through the spine, making that spine long by pulling hands, elbows into the ground, lifting the head down, seeing if we can lift up high enough to find the ceiling and wall seam. Noticing whether or not that ladybug is climbing that high. Exhaling down. And then moving into our cobra, our Bhujanasana. If we have soreness in the hands, the wrists, we're going to keep our hands in our sphinx pose. Otherwise, we're going to bring those hands tight to our side with the thumbs pointing toward our heart. Starfish hands with fingers wide spread. We're going to press through the hands and lengthen through the spine. Heels of the feet are lined up with our sit bones. We tuck the tailbone into the ground. Pubic bone pressing down as we do our posterior pelvic tilt. Shoulder blades fold down and back, stabilizing their shoulders. And lifting tall. Thinking about pulling the shoulder blades down and back. Watching the bend in the neck. Making sure we're not compressing the cervical spine. And then lowering down. And making our choice now to go back into our Cobra or Bhujanasana, or perchance going into our up dog for a little more work on strengthening the shoulders, the upper part of the back. We're going to bring our hands back a little bit further so that the thumbs are pointing more toward the top of the ribs. Starfish hands still. As we think again about length through the spine, stabilizing shoulder blades, pulling them in toward each other. Elbows are nicely bent as we press into the ground, maybe staying with the thighs on the floor, maybe lifting even higher with the shoulder blades flowing down and back, maybe picking the knees off the floor. Concentrating on our breathing, fluid, gentle, smooth. And then as we exhale, we're going to drop our knees to the floor, push ourselves back into an extended child's pose. Pressing through the hands to get the hips as low as we can toward the heels. Inhaling, coming up on our knees and into our cow face by pushing the tailbone up, dropping the belly, lifting the head. Then arching to the back into our cat as we sit back down into our child's pose. Inhaling, coming up into our cow face again, so we drop the belly, lift the head. Exhaling, rounding the back. Dropping down into our child pose. One more time forward. Letting that belly really drop. And then coming down to the floor to prone position. So we can go into our bow. Dhanurasana is its Sanskrit name, and we have choices here. If we'd like to go into a half bow, we're going to take our right forearm and bring it across the front of our torso so the elbows underneath our right shoulder and the hands out to the left. If we're using the half bow, Ardha Dhanurasana, we're going to keep that hand planted on the ground. We're going to lift up our left leg, reach around with our right. We're thinking about holding on in a convenient location, either the toes or the ankles, maybe even internal rotation to bring the hand to the inside of the leg. But then we're going to use our core strength, lift head, neck, and shoulders, and lift that left leg off the ground. If we'd like to do both sides, coming into a full bow, we'll go to the right knee, pushing the feet up to the sky. We're thinking about that pelvic tilt again, tailbone pushing into the floor. We're thinking about contracting the rhomboids, lower trapezius, pulling their shoulder blades toward each other. And then as we exhale, dropping back down to the ground, both feet on the floor. As we make our choice now to resume on our half bow, if that's the case, we're going to put our left arm on the ground. reaching around with our right hand to our right foot. Or if we prefer, we can go back into our full bow again, bringing both hands around to our feet. Once we get in position, we think about making the spine long, pushing the shoulders away from the hips, doing our posterior pelvic tilt as we push the feet up towards the sky. And then exhaling, dropping the feet back down to the floor, pushing ourselves up and back so that we can come to all fours. And work on loosening up that back by going into our cat and cow. So we drive the hands right underneath our shoulders. Our knees are right underneath our hips. We do movement from the lowest part of the spine so the tailbone tucks down as we start arching through the back, pulling the belly up, pulling the shoulders up, dropping chin into chest. Reversing direction. Tailbone starts moving first as we drop belly to the floor. Drop through the rib cage, open through the heart, and lift the head. Just letting that back loosen up. This is a real good combination of poses for those of us who have arthritis through the spine or the hips. For anyone who has lower back issues. And just working. Just like a slinky from the lowest part of the spine, trying to articulate each vertebra. And then coming back to neutral. Bending through the elbows, dropping down to the ground again. So that we can do another back strengthening pose. We're going to start by stretching our arms straight out in front of us. Coming into our moving Superman. A vinyasa that's going to continue to move with the breath. We're going to raise our right foot and maybe our left arm at the same time. Exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, switching to the opposite side. And moving slowly up and down with our breath. If we'd like to move just the arms at one time, we can do that. If we want to use just the legs, we can do that. And then both hands down to the floor. And getting ready for our locust. For today, we want to think about working and tightening, stretching across the front of the chest, strengthening the muscles on the back of the shoulders, the upper back, but still strengthening the muscles on the lower back. So we're going to plant our hands on the floor. We're going to turn the palms down. We're going to push into our thumbs so we lengthen through the spine as long as possible. And thinking about the posterior pelvic tilt again. So the tailbone, pubic bone move into the floor. Iliac crest rises. We keep that stretch all the way down the spine. Pushing hands into the floor as we lift head, neck, and shoulders. Bringing the hands up off the floor, stretching fingertips behind us, lifting our legs with a slight internal rotation will give us a little bit more movement upward. If we'd like, we can interlace the fingers and let the arms float back and up. Keeping our gaze on the floor so we're not overarching through the neck. Keeping that cervical spine comfortable. And then as we exhale, dropping down to the floor. Pushing up and back into an extended child pose. And then coming up on our knees. We're going to stay on our knees. If we need extra padding under the knees, we'll either fold our mat or get a blanket or a rug to allow a little more padding through the knees. We're going to bring our hands as fists behind our hips, or we're going to place the palms of the hands against the kidneys. And remember always that we're going for the upward movement, the stretch across the front of the torso when we're doing our camel pose. We want to make sure that the hips don't start moving backward because we want to keep this work into strengthening the back as we stretch across the abdominals. So we think about pelvic tilt again, posterior tilt. We think about really externally rotating the shoulders to start getting the arch and the lift, pulling the elbows closer toward each other, gently tilting the head back, taking our gaze up toward the sun, lifting tall, thinking about zipping up from our pubic bone to our belly button, to our solar plexus, to our heart, making that space as long as we can. If we'd like to, we can release the arms, bring them up and out, reaching high to the sky. If we'd like to try for a little bit more backward momentum, we can bring our hands, bring them around to the back, letting our hands rest against the back of the thighs or reaching down for our calves. But watching the alignment of hips to knees, making sure that we're not pulling them backward and we're keeping those hips right over the knees. And then as we exhale, we're going to come forward.